TikTok is on a collision course with the US government. Could this be the end of TikTok as we know it? But the real battle is in this video. Rubin is making some controversial comments on the internet lately, and music prodigy Jacob Collier is blasting Rubin for it, saying, "I don't trust him and he is hypocritical." Surprisingly, Spotify recorded the biggest profit the company has seen to date this quarter. But what does that mean for artists? Because in the meantime, the UK government had just funded musicians' biggest nightmare, AI music. And OBERHEIM is back with a budget-friendly synth. We are dissecting TikTok's fight for survival, the Rubin vs Collier showdown, streaming payout controversy, AI takeover, and everything in between. This is Music News with an Edge. Time to tune in. There is no bigger story out there today than the US government's new position on social media giant TikTok. The US and China have been at odds with each other over the service and how the company is run, with politicians saying it's a danger to Americans. Scary lip-syncing teenagers. Parent company ByteDance and their CEO Shou Zishu stated they have spent billions of dollars in securing user information to comply with the privacy laws in the US, which is the main complaint of Congress. The company has now been ordered to sell the US portion of the business by January 1st, 2025, or its operations will be blocked from users. Other tech giants have been pulled into the argument, with TikTok saying they secure US user data only on Oracle servers based in the US, so all information is safe. The finger pointing from the company and the government doesn't look to be cooling anytime soon, as ByteDance has stated they don't have any plans to cooperate with the law and are calling it unconstitutional. This isn't a new issue either, as last year the state of Montana introduced a similar law banning the app, but the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the company, saying the law overstepped the boundary of free speech. The other issue is the size of the sale of the company, as TikTok's annual revenues are larger than 24 billion per year, making it hard for any company to give a big enough offer for them. One argument against a sale is that a company like Meta would face antitrust issues if they were to purchase the company, as they would then own 3 of the largest social media platforms in the world. Other companies just don't even have enough money to even present a reasonable offer, unless they were Apple or a different tech company that has no experience running a social media network. Who knows if Elon might be interested. However, his current pet project Twitter isn't doing so well, and Tesla is having sales issues that need his attention more than another social platform to run. Elon? ByteDance is prepared to fight the law in the courts and has a record of winning against the government, so this law may not have much of a chance to stay on the books. What guaranteed is that a lot of lawyers are going to get paid a lot of money to argue over what will happen with the company. Court filings for challenges to the law are already being worked on to be submitted as early as next week. So, what do you think? Is TikTok danger to American people like the government says? Or is it more a violation of people's free speech? Let me know. We are a tiny channel trying to make difference in music industry, being positive and objective. And your help by subscribing to the channel and giving it a like is the best support that we can ever get. If you are enjoying the video, please consider like and subscribe. Do you know this man? Does he look like the homeless guy on the corner of your street that asks for money each day? If you guessed he was the person the movie The Love Guru was based on, you may not be far off. Rubin is known for starting the hip-hop label Def Jam Records and influencing a large number of musicians in their careers. Lately though, he has been seen in interviews giving out wisdom about the creative process like creative kung fu musical master. With quotes that sound more like someone trying to convert you to the religion, like good music stands the test of time because it resonates with the universal truths, and we are all creative beings. That one is not that bad. Rubin has built a reputation as a sage advisor, even while admitting he knows nothing about music. Wait, how does that even work? A producer who doesn't know anything about music? I mean, that happens. His latest venture was publishing a book about the creative process and how to kickstart creative thinking as an artist. Now, Jacob Collier, a touring artist and a musical savant, has come out bluntly criticizing Rubin and many of the things he stated in his book. He has even gone so far as to say, "I don't trust him." and he is hypocritical. Collier disagrees with Rubin's philosophy that art isn't about the audience, as Collier says that there are many reasons for making art for an audience. The idea of admitting that you don't know anything about music and yet being involved in some of the greatest musical albums of all time is an interesting persona to build. So who do you side with? Is Rick a master or a master of making up his importance? If you are not planning on making your millions as a TikTok influencer, you are definitely going to make it big streaming on Spotify, right? The streaming giant announced quarterly earnings this week and recorded the biggest profit the company has seen to date, adding 3 million new premium level subscribers, bringing their total to 239 million worldwide, and the company's profits grew to 168 million euro, while over 680 million people actively listen to music on Spotify each month. With total revenues of over 3 billion euro per quarter, they are making money easily and reaping the rewards of the platform's continued domination of streaming audio. And yet these numbers don't come without controversy, as the US-based National Music Publishers Association is accusing Spotify of attacking songwriters by calling its premium tier a bundle service. The issue is that in 2022, an industry-wide settlement was given by courts stating that publishers should be paid specific rates of revenue from music services. By classifying the premium services as a bundle that includes audiobooks, Spotify can reduce the total amount paid and bypass the rate increases that are supposed to be in effect each year. The claim is that because the premium is a mix of audiobooks and music, not all revenue gets shared the same to the publishers for the monthly fee. On top of the previously announced reduction of payouts to any song under 1,000 streams, it also seems Spotify is reducing the amount paid to mechanical licensing of music this way. With prices of premium tiers also going up, with the explanation of trying to pay artists more as the reason, it's clear that the NPMA feels they are being less than truthful about how they are claiming to be paying artists more money. This disagreement doesn't look to be going away anytime soon, and profits are going to be looked at carefully by Publishing Association in the future. Even if Spotify claims that more money will be paid to artists in 2024 than in 2023, it remains to be seen if the payments to the artists will be increased as much as the profits to the company reports. I am going for the trifecta here. I've covered TikTok, I covered Spotify, it is time to cover AI. We are hitting all the 2024 buzzwords in this episode. The UK government might be doing something controversial here, so let us know what you think of this next story in the comments below. This will be fun. The UK Research and Innovation Initiative, titled Creative Catalyst, is a public fund set up to advance the development of AI products and services within the global music supply chain. 6 lead organizations are receiving funds from the project for up to £1 million, including AudioStrip, which is focused on music separation. While AI music separation software exists today, it is limited to vocal separation, bass and drums as a combined process. AudioStrip's plan is to go beyond this and separate individual instruments and percussion hits so that each instrument can then be resampled. The idea of true stem separation seems like a good idea. However, using public funds to help move the technology along that could increase intellectual property issues is where things get a bit tricky. Should the government be funding music AI in the first place? And I'm sure you have thoughts on this. AudioStrip is already selling a premium service with vocal separation on their website today. The advanced separation is still coming with a launch date to be determined. If you want to try out the service, we will link it in the description below. The French sound explorer, bonjour, Arturia are really pushing the space theme this year. After announcing the Astrolab with a floating space theme and sci-fi artwork, the company has decided a new paint job was in order for another one of their offerings. The Minifreak, launched in 2022, now comes in what they call Stellar color scheme. The white keys have gone to the dark side and dressed up in all black. Techno keys. While no changes have been made to the hardware underneath, Arturia helps to keep up the theming of their new family of products with the special edition release. Included with any purchase is the software version of the synth, the Minifreak V, which hasn't been updated to include black keys, but will allow you to play both in DAW and on-the-go equally as well. The Stellar also comes with a premium price tag, as it is €100 more than the standard Minifreak. But if black is your thing, this is a very capable synth for a reasonable price at just €600. One of the most popular noise-making machines of the last century has released an updated version. Swedish company Elektron announced their Digitakt II device this week, with some increased capabilities to the sampler. Not only increasing the storage memory, but also increasing the active memory from 64MB to 400MB means more and longer samples can be loaded into a project on the device to be played with. Some of that memory will now be used for stereo sample playback, as the previous unit could only use mono samples. They also doubled the total number of tracks available on the device from 8 to 16 and are making each track available for 128 steps. Additional new features include 3 assignable LFOs per track, new chorus effects, and 5 new filter types. If you want to use the device as a sequencer for a complete setup, the Digitakt will now be able to handle all 16 sample channels in addition to 16 mid output channels, making it more flexible than ever. The new features do come with an added cost, as per-sale pricing of the device started at €1,000, with shipments estimated to start in 2 to 3 weeks. Roland has been making musical instruments since 1972, and their name is well known for some of the most iconic hardware out there. The TR-808 and 909 drum machines are what dance music was built from, and synthesizers like Juno, Jupiter, and 303 are staples in studios around the world. In 2019, Roland introduced the Fantom series, a one-size-fits-all do-everything machine that promised to reproduce any sound made from the iconic classics in one device. Last year, the company introduced a paid upgrade called the X firmware upgrade that cost $199 as an add-on to the hardware. Being marketed as a new release, the Fantom series has now been updated with the X branding, and really that's about it. Putting a new label on the devices, the X upgrade is now being shipped from the factory already included without an additional cost. There are no additional changes to the device, just new printing on them and software only. The hardware was already incredibly impressive, with hammer action or semi-weighted keys, drum pads, Zen core architecture, and the ability to assign and play multiple instruments. The Fantom X series is on sale now, with the smaller Fantom XX starting at $3,200. I'm sure you have heard the song Purple Rain by Prince, or even Jump by Van Halen, and who can forget the iconic soundtrack to the movie The Terminator. What do all these have in common? They all feature an OBERHEIM synthesizer as the main instrument. For decades, the company has made synths that make big sounds, but also have come with a big price tag. The OBX8 retails for €4,000, and that's not the only price analog synth they make. Superboot is coming up in a couple of weeks in Berlin, where hardware makers will be showing off all their new creations, and one device just couldn't wait to be seen. In a leak, OBERHEIM are set to introduce the TEO5, a 5-voice polyphonic synth with 44 keys, 2 oscillators, and a signature blue paint job of the OBERHEIM brand. The synth is meant to be budget friendly, with a retail price of €1,700 at launch. More information is sure to come as we get close to the Superboot, as the leak didn't show every detail, so stay tuned for more info on this one. It seems the new hot name for 2024 is SYNTHS. The Las Vegas SYNTHS is open and hosting big name brands, and announced second SYNTHS is planned for Dubai as well as other cities around the world. Now, a company has named their instrument with a SYNTHS name, and they are going ultra. Sample Logic's ultraSPHERE, not to be confused with Spectrasonic's Omnisphere, is a multi-sample instrument similar to the native instrument's Contact. The synth has 4 sample engines and XY mixer that can be used to combine the samples in new and interesting ways. 1520 audio files, 10 GB of sound, 1700 instruments are included. 2 arpeggiators, drag and drop LFOs, multimode filters are also included to help shape the sample sounds into new sonic palettes. There is also a dynamic tag-based browser, which helps you to organize all the sounds and files for an easy to navigate system. The SYNTHS is as expensive as a ticket to U2 in the other SYNTHS in Las Vegas at $299 on introductory sale now at the Sample Logic website. Look anywhere on the internet and you will see someone leave a review for a product, a restaurant or business that talks negatively about them. No one is immune from receiving a poor review, and there are concerns about trolls leaving negative reviews just because they miss human contact and would rather argue with people than be alone. How should you respond to critics? Don't take the advice of Tekton Audio, a US-based speaker company who has reportedly threatened a legal action against reviewers of their products that come out negatively. Such a move. Erin Hardison of Erin's Audio Corner published a review of the company's True Baldauer speaker and did what most audiophiles might do by measuring the frequency response of the speakers. Meanwhile, a second reviewer, Amir Majidumer, don't make me repeat that, from Audio Science Review, received the company's M-Lore speakers and did a similar test. In both reviews, the data didn't match to what Tekton had published as their own internal measurements of the speakers. Eric Alexander, Tekton's lead designer and CEO, tried to publicly shame both review sites and threatened to sue both for the negative reviews. "You shall not measure my speakers." Eric claims that if the companies had informed him that they were going to be testing the speakers, he would have provided them with the setup instructions. This reminds me of Volkswagen's test scandal with the emissions. If you measure in a certain way, I'm sure you will get it. It is also claimed that Eric had stated he would have preferred to see the data first so that he could correct it before the reviews were published, and had he known the data wasn't going to be shared, he wouldn't have agreed to review. Commenters have come to the review site's defense, pointing out that third-party reviews should be transparent and independent of the maker's review, as consumers need to trust the information given to them. To respond with legal action is taking the whole thing to an unreasonable level, as a reviewer needs to be free to state their thoughts on the product without repercussions. In general, threatening legal actions against a company for trying your product and not liking how it functions, I mean, that is not a good look. Tekton has now removed the Troubadour model from its website and stated that the M-Lore speaker hasn't sold a single unit in 2 months since a negative review from Amir. Amir is the real influencer here. While Eric Alexander has tried to play damage control by saying he didn't mean he was going to sue Erin Hardison, he only meant for a lawyer-to-lawyer discussion to resolve. You and me, 101, lawyer-to-lawyer. Amir, on the other hand, has been told he needs to personally and publicly apologize to Eric, and he felt blindsided by the bad review. So everyone at home, don't be like Eric. When was the last time you listened to a CD? How much would you pay for a CD player? What if that CD player was originally made in 90s? Would that nostalgia be enough to have you pay a premium? CDs currently only make up 3% of the music industry's revenue in 2022, which is 92% lower than it was 20 years ago. But the format is making somewhat of a comeback. First vinyls, now CDs, what's next? Gen Z's interest in physical media formats has motivated high-end audio company Bang & Olufsen to re-release their iconic B&O System 9000C player. B&O have done this previously, when they refurbished and released the B&Ogram 4000C turntable. Do they have a USB stick MP3 player? Calling this series of releases their recreated classics, B&O is not only paying homage to the past, but allowing people the chance to own these classic devices. But you definitely have to pay for the privilege. The 4000C retailed for $11,000 on the re-release. It was a refurbished unit, although it did come with a 5-year warranty. For the 9000C, they are pushing things further by listing the system for an eye-watering, wait for it, $55,000. While this is a limited release, there is no indication of how many units will be sold, and we will see which billionaire wants to have that 90s feeling again. Elon! Where are you? Somebody wants to sell you a CD player. The system was revolutionary at the time, with its 6-position vertically mounted face that allowed users to create playlists from songs on each of the 6 discs they loaded. With the glass and aluminum housing, it sure does look the part of the 19th sci-fi. So which of my viewers are going to be rushing out and buying one? When can we set up a listening party? Come on, invite me over so we can test this thing out. The latest trend in the club scene is one I definitely think I can get behind. Last year, Printworks owner in London opened Drumsheds, a recently closed IKEA building. Events at the venue have reportedly been fantastic, with reviews glowing about the use of the space and how incredible a 16,000 person crowd feels when moving together. And when someone has a good idea, you know that there are bound to be copycats. In Seattle, Cannonball Arts has signed a lease on a recently closed Bed Bath & Beyond store, which used to sell everything household related from bed sheets to spatulas. Doesn't make sense. Of course they are closed now. The 66,000 square foot facility spans 2 city blocks and is ambitious to say the least. The group plans to open in 2025 with space for hosting both music and art events. That's cool. Cannonball Art is no stranger to the music scene, having organized and hosted Bumbershoot, one of the longest running American music festivals that started in 1971. The new location is meant to keep the festival feeling going year round, as over 125,000 visitors attend the festivals that is held outdoor just below the iconic Space Needle in the north part of the city. I'm excited to hear more about this project, and we will see if more cities start to turn closed retail locations into music and art spaces. This is definitely a trend I can get behind. Or inside, if they book me, why not? Not all ambitious venue openings go as planned, as residents of Manchester found out April 20th. 11,000 attendees bought tickets to be Rick Astley in person. You mean Rick Rolled? The Never Gonna Give You Up singers show was cancelled just an hour before the brand new Co-op Live Arena was set to open. This is so good. The £365 million venue was said to be having power supply issues, as well as crowd control problems and unfinished seats. 2,000 staffers were also not allowed in, as they were supposed to be doing a test concert for the grand opening of 23,500 capacity stadium. Additional events on 23rd and 24th were also cancelled, this time with more notice as they work out the issues in the venue. Well, that was definitely an interesting week in music news. Thank you for watching, and tune in again next week as we cover all the music related news.